So, hello guys, my name is Manuel Barata from Barata Arquitectos Studio, and I tried to make a selection of 3 works that could be interesting to show the way that we not only that we work but also how we solve the problems, and I think that is a really important part in architecture. So I will present 3 different works with 3 different type of objectives, difficulties, and programs. So the first one is an office for Mandarin teachers, which is Chinese teachers that teach Mandarin, and it's in the city of Porto, and it's a refurbishment. So in here, the let's say that the architectural intervention was not that difficult, but to solve what the client wanted in this super tiny space was actually the main problem. The second project is a house, and a house in a rural area. It's in the center of Portugal, in Aroca, and it's more of a heritage building. So it's a noble house from the late 18th century, beginning of the 19th. And in here, it's an ampliation. So we needed to work a lot with the idea of the construction. So what we are going to put new was really important to make the connection with the existence. So it's also very important, at least in our idea, to have this type of relation with the pre-existence, the area, the types of construction, and the goal itself of the architecture part. And the third one, it was a competition that we won in Porto to do 5 apartments. Sorry. And it's more or less in the downtown of Porto, and in here the competition was about to do this. In here we call it, let me see a good translation for it, but we call it affordable rent apartments. So we need to do this type of solutions in a low-cost way, but we also wanted to give like a proper atmosphere in the common areas, and we need to obviously to proportionate a good lifestyle in this area, and not to create, or at least to continue to do what they had in there, which is more or less a little bit of ghetto. And here we go. I'm going to share. Okay, I hope you guys are seeing it. Okay.
Funciona perfeitamente.
Perfect. So in here is okay, so you see the river in here. I don't know if you guys know Porto or not. In here is the headquarters of the university. More or less in these parallel streets in here is all the nightlife in here, like all of the nightlife in Porto is in here. And we have the Aliados down to the left side, and so it's really in downtown. And we are going to refurbish 2 rooms, let's say, in this building in the 5th floor. The existence was this. So we didn't have anything. This was already an office, like an office for accounting. And as you can see, imagine always that we have 2 rooms like this, one parallel to the other. So if we demolish one wall, we are going to see one exactly like this one. So what we can see in here, and it's the important part, is like we need to solve the infrastructure. So if we are going to have lots of different affairs in the same space, what we need to solve at the end is really simple. It's like the office needs to work. And then the second part is like to work in a beautiful way. So our first goal was like, we need to put this to work. And in here we had also a different question, which was, they wanted to do in 120 square meters. They wanted to do a super vast type of rooms. They wanted to do a meeting area. They wanted to do a conference area. They wanted to do a main room for, let's call it, the boss. They wanted a secretary. They want all of this in 120 square meters. And at the end, to do it properly, you needed to do it 240. So this is the model. We only do study models, so this is not well cut and not at all. But anyway, let's imagine that the first photo was took like in here. I hope you guys see the mouse because I'm using it to show some stuff. And in parallel to it, we had all of this another room exactly like this, and we have the fixed bathroom. So all of the water parts were solved already. We didn't need to work with them to solve them. One of the main ideas, and one thing that I'm forgetting, is that in here, one of the way to solve the problem, and we didn't have that much exit to solve it, is that we needed to do some places that could transform in another place. So we normally used to say that we work with silence, which is the program part, with the gravity, which is the construction part, and with light, which is the space part, because without light we have no perception of the space. And in here, one thing that I forgot in the introduction is that I'm going to try to explain, even if it's in different type of hierarchies. We always solve all of these three parts in architecture, but we solved the most in the program part, which is the silence. And why silence? Because since we have so many different rooms and so many different goals in one place, we needed to solve the noise as well. Let's give this anecdotic example. But for example, in a cathedral, since you want silence and respect, obviously you immediately imagine it with a high ceiling. For example, in a call center for Vodafone, you immediately imagine it with a low ceiling. In here is more or less the same thing when we talk about silence. And let's move on. The idea of the main sketch in here was to give the versatility, was to imagine a simple gesture in which we solve all of the infrastructure in the, I don't know the name in English, rodapé. This part in which connects the floor with the wall. We call it in Portuguese rodapé, which is this lower part. And we were using it to put all of the infrastructure like in this podium. So we are going to do a perimeter in all of the area in which we solve the internet cables, the connection cables, the AVAC, which is the air conditioners, the lights and everything. And on top of it, we were going to solve the shelves and the archives and all of this. And in between of them, we solved the connection with the spaces. So we solved the doors in between of all of the office program. Maybe this will seem confused, but I think that at the end, the solution looks super simple. And I think that was the goal. Because at the end, what you see in here was maybe the only thing that we needed to pay a little bit more attention, which was that we needed to do this part in here in a way that it could completely open or completely be closed. And at the end, we did also the detailings of furniture only for this office in here, in which they could move them. So, for example, when we have this huge sliding door in here and this shelf in here, when we have the full space, we close it in one of the shelves, and we could put this shelf that is that can be moved to do all of this wall in here. So at the end, the most difficult part was to solve these huge doors and all of the doors that are hidden in the project. And as the distribution, as we were saying in the beginning, in here is the secretary, in here is the main boss office, in here is the teachers meeting area, the toilets, and in here it would be or 1, 2, 3 rooms to give classes, or 2 rooms to give classes, or 1 big room to make this conference or even exhibitions that they wanted to do. In here is my partner Hugo that was immediately looking to the wall that was going to be demolished, and this one of the existing photos, like nothing that interesting in the existing part. We started to demolish it. We started to make it an open space. This photo was interesting, but a little bit more poetical than constructively interesting, because we opened both spaces and the lights were different, and we were in the idea of the connection of the spaces when we took out the light. So in here it looks immediately one space together. All of the infrastructure that was going to be hidden is what we see right now. I think that maybe this looks actually super direct, but I think that if we don't control this in a project, is already bad. If we don't control this in a small project, is even worse, because it will be super visible. And if we don't control this in a project that has so many infrastructures, it will be like a chaos, like a mayhem. The architecture was not going to be seen, because it will be so many cables and so many everything. So it was our main goal. And at the end, this place in here, it was going to be the main area, the main part of the conference room, and in here is the solution. So we did all of this huge door in here that has different type of sliding ways. So we could do work it as a wall, we could work it as an half wall, we could work it as lots of ways possible. In here with the darkest wood, you imagine that all of these cables are passing in here inside of this, so you don't see anything. And in here, I really hope that you guys are seeing the cursor, the mouse. In here is one of the doors that we hid, for example. It appeared our shelf that we draw as well, and the doors could give all of this different type of versatility to the space. This is the photo of the secretary part, and we did this super old school trick to put because it's much smaller than it looks. In here we put a mirror on the end of the corridor, and so it breathes a little bit more, so it's not so claustrophobic. And we tried to solve all of the, let's say, the silence part when the huge door is closed. So in here it will be everything like in a more private sector, but then if it's open, it starts a little bit to be more fluid. And then if you want it completely independent, you close the door, the sliding door. And this is the photo from the other area, the other space, the biggest one, and it's exactly the same thing. You can completely open, completely close it, and at the end, I think that as we were saying in the beginning, I think the problem could be really complex if it was not directly identified, but at the end, I think it was a really simple project in a way that it was solved in a calm way, let's say, like it was super humble. The second project is completely different. So in here we have a client that is actually a good client, which is not normal. It's a client that let us do more or less what we want, which is also not normal. And in here, what you wanted was to refurbish this noble, let's say, noble house. In Portuguese, we call it a solar. And in here we have lots of different and complex type of problems. First of all, it was a house that was not in ruin, but it was already super in a bad condition. The second part is that this house, from the beginning of the construction until this started last year, and it's still in progress, but it also had lots of different constructions on top of it. For example, in here, this staircase didn't belong to the first pre-existence. In here, we have also this part that didn't belong to it. This in here, that's like a huge horizontal base, didn't belong as well. So what we did at the end was some couple of visits to try to polish it, to minimalize it, to arrive to the core of the proper pre-existence, also with a work together with the client that was showing super late photos, and we were trying to do this schedule, this calendar, to see what was to keep and what was not to keep. Talking about the program itself, this is a vacations house, and the idea of the client was that he wants the top floor of the house for him and the family, and he wants the lower part of the house, which the ground floor, which opens to the other side as well. He wanted the possibility to rent it, and we develop it in two phases. The first one was the top floor, because he wants to pass Christmas in there in this year, so we started with the top floor, and the down floor will be in a second phase. Hopefully it will be also solved in Christmas, but let's see. The other thing is that in let's say the main facade, because the facade that you see when you are arriving to this farm is this one. So you arrive by car and you see this facade, but the facade in which the house works is this one. And in this facade, you clearly see that, as some other houses in this era, they did the ampliation for the kitchen. So this volume in here is super recent, like late like 20th century. And this was one of the things that was not working. In here, another thing that was not working is that all of this part, the down part that will be to rent in the future, was to keep dry vegetables for the animals and all of this. And so this relation to the external part, the external area of the house, didn't work that much, as you can see in here, and so they used the top height of the house in here, which is this one. And this space is called in Portuguese is eira, which is a pavement done by huge pieces of stone that we wanted to keep, because after being polished, it's really beautiful. And another thing that we wanted to solve is what wasn't solved before. So we were not inventing anything. We were just solving a problem that was already there, which is the connection between the new volume and the old volume. So one of the ideas that we have to do this connection, and just to give you guys a hint, is that we have a new volume, and I'm going back and forth, I'm sorry, but I think it's easier to explain. We have a new volume in here, and we have a new volume in here. So we started to think that it was more or less a good idea to put a perpendicular volume newer and the old volume in the other 90 degrees. Because at the end, the main part of our intervention was going to be in here. In the right parts are only rooms, and then what we were really going to solve, even though if we touched all of the interiors and etc., but what we were really going to be seen that we solved was this part in the left. Also, this relation was really interesting because they have this. This is called a skeiro. I'm sorry, I don't know the translation. Is a place to dry the vegetables, and the rhythm of the skeiro of this object in here was really imponent in this facade. This is one photo of the interior. The interior has this pattern in the floor that we really liked since the first time we went there. All of the rest is more or less okay. It was not in a bad state. A huge mess, but come on, it's normal. And the lights, the light in the interior was not that good, which was not current, because they have 4 facades. They have lots of light in there, and the light was not good. So that was another thing that we wanted to solve. In last but not least, since we were going to use this area to make the ampliation, the client said that he really wanted to still have this view. So he wanted, and he was always telling us that he normally put a table outside to eat with the kids and all of this, and he wanted to be possible to continue to do it and to continue to have this relation with the external area. These are some drawings. One of the drawings that, even though those are not maybe the most expressive ones, but with this abstract collage, I think it's really clear what we wanted to do. What we wanted to do is to continue to have an external area that was in internal area as well. So it's obviously we used glass. The other thing is that we wanted to put the green that we see in here inside of the living room and inside of the kitchen, even though we were going to make an ampliation. And we wanted to continue the rhythm of the skeiro, which is already the main facade in there, in our idea, which is this. This is after it's clean, it has more length than the main facade in this top. Let me see if I can. This facade in here is narrower than the scale. I hope I'm being clear. So this is the study model and the proposal. Maybe it's better in the plan sections. Okay, so this is the existent part. This is the scale, as I was saying. So this area in here is much more visible than in here. And the proposal. The proposal, I was saying before that when we arrive by car, we arrive through this part and we see this facade. But then when you enter, you have immediately the contact with this facade and the scale and a little bit of our ampliation. This is the main goal, which is to do this perpendicular gesture to solve all of the problem and the program that they want us to solve. And here we go for the construction part. We really tried to make a connection in which it was a respectful type of touching the existence. So we used concrete without any type of finishers. So we used raw concrete to make a good connection with the stone. And we wanted to solve also this main staircase to, in this case, the main goal, what she was going to do, to put it in here, the living room and the kitchen and everything. So the staircase needed to be a different one. And this is more or less the idea, in my opinion, which was to put in here. We worked with more or less with the gravity part, as I was saying in the beginning. So we wanted to put a huge importance in the constructive part, in the colors, and to try to make a good connection. So at the end what we do was to solve a patio in the middle of the living room, and this patio was going to make the distribution to the kitchen and the distribution to the living room. And we have this promenade in the entrance of the made by the staircase, and we are going to put the tree in here. We were in technical assistance in the site. They were doing the another thing really important is that the Aroca is super cold and super hot in the summer. So this is north in the left part and south in the right part. That's why this it's not symmetrical. This balance of the slab, it's not symmetrical to solve the light, and also the temperature. At the end, we did this glass box with a patio in the middle. The reflex in here is to the back part, which is another building that we need to make in the future project, but not right now. In here is the back facade, which is personally is the one that I like the most, because it's really simple. It's like a line, the existence chimney, and another line, and it's done. And it does a good connection also with the scale in here. We can see this is the existence, the pre-existent main door in which we maintain. It was not on site, but it was kept, and they refurbish it and they put it back again. In here we can see we removed obviously the staircase, and we did only this detail for the balcony to the main room. The main room is in here, and this relation with the glass box that surpasses the main building. this was really a huge problem to convince the client to do this balcony like this. But anyway, for what I know, it's still there. And we also removed we actually really cleaned the facade in here. We removed the vases. We removed also these pipes, the rain pipes. Removed all of this technical rain part, let's say like this. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry, but I don't know the technical words. The box in the other way. The relation with the scale in here. The back facade. Again, the relation, and let's go to the interior. So in here is the pre-existing door. We kept it. It was also a client's will, so we kept it. I think it makes some sense. So it was refurbished, repainted, and kept. One thing that I forgot to say is that the existing color was not white, was Bordeaux. So we did some experience with the paint, and the painting here is called blood red, and it's something that was really common to paint the wood back then, and so we used exactly the same color. In the interior, what we wanted to put was a pavement in wood. The client didn't want to. The client did want these ceramic tiles. And at the end, I think that we did a good team, because we did the pattern of the tiles, which is called the parquet, but we did it with ceramic. And the ceramic at the end had the same type of ornaments than the existing one. So in the new part, we did the parquet style, and in the old part, we maintain obviously the other one. These are some pictures from the interior. In here to the right, we have the kitchen. This project was after Confusio, so it was after the project that I show you guys before. So the details of the walls is exactly the same, and this is one thing that I think it's super important in architecture office, and to understand it, and also for architecture itself, that the projects are something that are completely eternal. So maybe if you solve something for one project in 2019, there was some idea that you are going to use to 2022. And in here, even if it's only a sliding door and super standard sliding door, the idea of using the sliding door in here for this project was because we were doing Confusio at the same time. And as you know, we need to deliver the projects for many reasons. So sometimes you reuse and recycle some ideas, and in here it was one of the cases. The patio is in the middle, and I have some pictures after that we'll show you this. This is the connection between the shadow living room in the beginning, that we completely demolished all of the windows and all of the walls and windows from the interior, and we did the connection between existing parquet, and then we did this let's say finishing between one and the other, which was a stone wall, so we put the connection between old and new in stone as well, like a perimeter, and then we put the new one. Those 4 tiles in here was because this was not completely orthogonal. So to hide the error, we put a pattern. So normally when people arrive here, and it's curious to see, people directly look to these 4 dots instead of looking to the huge difference angle that it's in here, which is good. Here is the new living room. Let's go like this. In here is the entrance from the other side, which is the chimney in here to the right, and then you can enter directly to the living room or directly to the kitchen to the right. And here is a photo from the kitchen, the tiles of the kitchen, the patio with the kitchen is to the right, and the living room is to the left. And at the end, the living room. The living room has this also another chimney in the living room, which is making the connection between living room, fire, external, which will have a tree in here, and then kitchen. And all of this will be, as you can see, like completely open and glass, and then completely closed and stone in the existing part. Finally, we have Dom João Quarto, which is this competition to do these apartments in the Porto downtown. Here is Dom João. It's maybe not that known. Aliados is in here. We put this just to have the idea. And in this area, what do we have? We have what we called ilha. Ilha is like it's like a social collective house.
Sim, eles conhecem ilhas. Eles estudaram um pouco, sim.
Fantastic. Okay, so in here, in this project, we have the existence ruin. In this case, it was actually a ruin, but we have a ilha in the interior of the block. So we needed to maintain a passage. We need to maintain the access to the ilha, but we needed to solve also this 5 apartments building. So the ruin was this. It was only the facade that rested. In here it was only the metal part, but it was empty in the inside. The ceiling was more than half was completely down, was completely crashed. And the connection to the ilha was in here, was in this part. So in the competition we needed to do. Actually, they in the competition asked for 4 apartments. We did 5. Maybe that was one of the reasons they choose us, because at the end in construction is all about money, which is really sad. But anyway, in here what we solved was the typical. I'm going to try to present it in another way. I'm really sorry. In here, the typical plan section of the Oporto house is that you enter and you have the staircase in the middle. But the problem is that if we do this, we were going to lose lots of space, because imagine the street is in here and you needed to do a corridor, and you are going to lose space in here. You need to do a corridor and you need to go to the staircase, and you are going to lose lots of space. The other problem is that we have the need to do an apartment in the ground floor, and the apartments in the ground floor are not good. No one wants an apartment directly in the ground floor, because you have no privacy. So our idea was to maintain the vertical axis in the middle, but to completely open it, to show to the world that the staircase was in there, so we could solve light in here. And in here is the 3rd topic, which was silence, gravity, and light. And in here at the end we solved light, because the interior of the apartments were so conditioned by the client that at the end we didn't do nothing in the interiors of the apartment. At the end, in here in this project, we only solved a staircase, and this staircase at the end gave us the solution to the light in this middle of the tunnel, because otherwise we were going to do only a tunnel and it was going to be a bad place to be at night, definitely. And we were going to use this staircase as well to do the difference of height to the ground floor, so we could use a difference of height before the main staircase. So when you are in the ground floor, you are not at height 0, but you will be at height 1.5, which is already okay. So going back, I'm really sorry. In here, what we're saying is that the tunnel will be in this part to the right. So if you do the connection, if you do the ampliation of the building, you're going to have a tunnel in here. So at the end, what we wanted to do was to carve out the volume of all of the axis, the vertical axis, and to solve the windows. Instead of being here like a store to the sidewalk, we wanted to put them up. So the windows, we're only going to start more or less in here, and we wanted direct sunlight to the middle of this tunnel. In here, it was a little bit direct, that we needed to put one floor in here, and then the second one, because of legislation, and also I completely agree, the new facade needed to be on the back, which is okay. The idea, quick sketch and some Photoshop on top of it to make it understandable, and it was to make this completely open. So what we wanted to see, the little fun of the middle of the tunnel, was to see this, and to see this, and since we are going to have the sunlight touching this part and to make reflex on the tunnel, we wanted to use a super warm light, a light that make you curious, that wants to go to the backyard and wants to go to explore what's happening there. This is the model, again, study model, lots of errors, but the idea was here. So we go up these 3 heights, that at the end it was 5 heights. In on site it was more, and then we enter in the ground floor and we solve the privacy part, especially because, as you can see in here, maybe, yeah, you can have the perception, it's already an angle to the center. So even if you are going up 3 heights, you are already more or less 60 centimeters up from the sidewalk. In the middle is this. This is the section. So what we wanted to do is more or less this. One apartment, 2 apartments, 3 apartments, and then 4, which is on the back of this. In 5, it's the back of this. This is a technical drawing, more or less to explain how it was at the end. See, in here it's not even 5, it's more, it's 7 heights. And this was also the documentation that we did, and I think it, because of the time that we had to do this, it was so tight that what we did was 2 sections, and we completely detailed these 2 sections, and I think it was also a good work solution to make it really understandable. This is the ground floor. To be honest, the apartments, like, the biggest idea was the vertical axis. The apartments are okay, and we were completely conditioned by the client that the apartments was more like 70% client, 30% us. So we did this open living room to the kitchenette, 2 rooms to the back. We needed to make a response to the bathrooms for the accessibility. So it's in here, then storage. Second first floor more or less the same. Last floor more or less the same, but with 2 balconies. Another thing that we needed to do is that we used let me go back. I'm sorry. No, we don't have in here. I don't know if you know this type of refurbishment in the old buildings. That's because of the rain as well, and it's this tile called ardosia, which is a black tile, and we put the refurbishment of the last floor was all in this, so it could make a connection with some other buildings that all of the lateral facade was with this material. So we tried to use it, and I think that at the end it went okay. In here, since we liked the color from Bosa, we did the same color to the facade, to the windows in here, and I think it worked really good. About the tiles, there is a tile called meia cara, which is a diagonal. Is a diagonal, typically white and blue, and is one of the tiles that is more used in Porto. And since in this street, the majority of the color of the tiles is ochre, we need this meia cara. Instead of half blue, half white, we did half white, half ochre. And here we go for the construction. The construction at the end, we almost only maintain the facade. And in here, we already pushing the new building. We maintain all of this. Actually, we not only maintain, but we correct also some let's say some pathologies that it was already having. This is in the back. And in the middle, sooner or later, you're going to start to see light, which is this. So when you enter right now, if you go on front, you go to the Ilha. If you go on this side, you have this vertical access to all of the apartments. Like in here, for example. And in the right part, you go to the garden and Ilhas, and here's the distribution. And also this, I think that since we did, before of this one, we did a refurbishment only of the external area of a social block in here in Porto. I think that the common areas are super important. Like the people start to conquer them, and I think also that the most value and the most functional that the common areas are, and also the most interesting, the more the people will identify and will start to put I don't know, their vases, their colors, that and start to adapt to the common areas. If we imagine that we only had a tunnel in here, a tunnel with 17 meters length, and the entrance in here, it was not well solved. So I think that at the end it was really direct to make this idea, and I think that I hope it works, because it was only concluded not even 1 month ago, so it's no one living in there right now. In here, in technical assistance as well, when they closed the walls, which is really beautiful to see. And also some details that we had fun to do them, like this with the staircase and the guard, that I think also that had some I think the boys had lots of fun to detail this and to see it on live on the construction. This the distribution, and all of these tiny windows are the bathrooms. And in here is a quick collage between old and new. The new is this one. This is the tunnel. In here, the light. Is this has in here? I guarantee you, this has no Photoshop on it. It has no contrast on it. Maybe the telephone was already, I don't know. But the light that you see is this. So when it's like 1 or 2 in the afternoon, that the sun is really hot, the color is exactly this one. It's the back facade, which the material that we were saying before, these are those in here, that it's really common, the use of it, and we try to use it. All the facade as well, the back facade. And then the interior part of the tunnel, which is the thing that I'm going to do the more documentation of it. For example, in the middle of the construction site, we saw that this wall in here shouldn't be painted to give only the light tunnel its identity. So if you see after, this will be white at the end. Here it goes, it's white. And this is the view that you have from the tunnel. In here, actually, in this project, we changed lots of things during the construction. For example, the guards were one of them, and we have like some interesting conversations in the color of the guards, which I didn't want. It was my partner that one, but it's beautiful as well. This color, which is the same as the facade. I was thinking white. Here it goes. His fault. And the guard is this one, and the other one is that one, you can see. And it's also interesting the difficulty that it is to have a quite good photo from the tunnel, which is also, in my opinion, is good, because I have so many pictures of it, and I think that you cannot perceive exactly how it is if you don't go there. And this is from the ground floor, taking a picture to the last staircase. This is almost like bending totally to take the photo. Another thing that is completely forgotten, at least by us in the process of the project, is that we draw everything, and at the end we arrive to the site, and we have these signs, we have these lines, and it's terrible. And this is the last photo that we have. We have this on the construction, and here it's done. And here is a photo from the top part, and we used concrete with only epoxy on top of it. So this is super direct to do, and then all of the rest is only painted. And this is the idea of each apartment. So we have all of this rodapé that is going to do the furnishings, and then with another color, the tiles and the furnishing with a different color. And they didn't want to put, the clients didn't want to put the of this in the construction. So it's something that you put after if you're going to live in there. So this is not with fridge or not with oven, because it was like the problem that they gave it. And corridor, entrance, and this is the Blade Runner type of effect when it's 1 in the afternoon and you have the door opened, and at the end, I just wanted to finish with a sentence from my father that unfortunately is no longer with us, and that the architecture is always the relation between an old heritage with the heritage that you create. Let's say that the architecture is the importance that you can understand, evaluate, and transform and make it a continuous transformation to make the heritage of the future. Thank you very much. And any questions, please let me know.
Muito obrigado. I want to thank you, Manuel, for this beautiful conference. Also, I didn't have time in the beginning of your lecture to remember also the fact that I was a friend of your father, and that it was a professor that had a huge importance for me. I consider him to have been one of the most important architects of the School of Porto. And I still consider one of his projects one of the most beautiful projects of the new generation after the revolution in Porto. It's very important for me the fact that you in a continuity, let's say, with this craft that and this theory also that he started, that you are still there. And I'm sorry because there are some Italian architects that were very also part of this how can I say students of him that wanted to enter in the teams, but I hate this program and it's not working, so I'm gonna send them the link of the video, but they would have loved to be here and talk to you. So I don't know if the students have questions, or Kiran, which is my colleague that is co-organizing the conference, that is there. Vous avez des questions que je peux traduire en anglais ou en portugais?
I just find that since they're working on the school, there was a lot of things that were just what we were working with, like the grounds, the glasses, the walls, the staircases. So I think if you had them.
Estás a ouvir o que ela falou?
Sorry, I couldn't hear it.
Yes. No, she was saying that so the students are working in Porto on a school, on a public school that they are restoring and transforming or destroying in some cases. But it's interesting because all the material you showed is really the architectural word they work with, which is walls, windows, and doors, and you know, the essential material of architecture, as your father would have said, and nothing. So that was extremely interesting, also because you work really with the typical materials that historically the School of Oporto work with, and I don't know. I was expecting some questions, but there were none. So here a very interesting question, but don't get offended. So one of our students asked if there was any inspirational relationship between your last project and Beaufil.
I hear it all the time. Of course.
What?
Of course. But of course. Definitely.
Okay.
And to be even more honest, we already tried to do it before to another project, and at the end it was like we were forcing too much, so we didn't do it. And but yes, definitely. And we all always like the idea of this this type of staircase that it has in that project. We just wanted to use it once, not in all of the project as it does, like in all of the details and everything. We just wanted to try it to do it there, and I think that it's really common, at least in our office. It's really common to, I don't know, to look to a material, to look to a detail, to look to some type of form, and we see like, no, the next client is going to do that, and maybe even before you have the project, you already have some ideas, even if it is a house, if it is a, I don't know, a school, if it is a student residence. And so yes, definitely, good point.
Good intuition. Okay, and also there is Pedro that is there. Pedro is our is part of the team of our studio, which is called Mano, like hand, and so it's Kiran Katara, which is there, me and Pedro and Pierre Emance Fabro, and yes. So I don't know if there are no other questions. I would say thank you very much. It was super interesting. Thanks for your time. I'm sorry we couldn't be able to meet you personally in Oporto, but it will be for the next time. And you are welcome to do lectures whenever you want for us.
Thank you very much.
Cool. Okay, thank you so very much.
Especially now without COVID and all this. Thank you.
Ok. Muito obrigado, querido.
Obrigado.
Tchau, tchau, tchau.